If you guys remember the story of Tyshawn Lee, it was huge, a huge story out of Chicago. I did want to kind of touch on this because it's real complicated as far as like how I feel. It's like I can kind of understand, but the gang element also is at play here, and there's just no excuse for that for us to continue to perpetuate violence against people that look just like us. And at some point, we got to wake up and realize what the problem really is. But before we get into the details of the story, this is just an update, but let me give you a disclaimer. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. And as you guys know, where there's smoke in Chicago, there's usually gunfire. In this story, I'm getting this update from illicitdeeds.com, my friend. Thank you very much for the article. Tyshawn Lee's story has just been shrouded with so many ridiculous narratives. And again, you have a bundle of black people. If I can back this picture up and you look at this, a bundle of black people that will probably never see the light of day, and especially his son. That's 5 black men. 5 black lives just gone. We're doing this to ourselves. Now, with the Tyshawn Lee story, of course, a lot of you guys know this, but as a reminder, a stranger lured the 9-year-old Illinois boy off a Chicago playground into an alley with the promise of giving him a treat. Then, in a gang hit that made national headlines for its brutality, he fatally shot the child in the head. And I think he actually shot him multiple times, if I'm not mistaken. 5 months after the horrific slayings, prosecutors say that the boy's father, by the name of Pierre Stokes, that guy, in an act of revenge, shot the girlfriend of one of the men responsible for his son's death and her 2 adult nephews. Vigilante justice, gang justice, I don't know what you want to call it. It's just wrong. Wrong is wrong. So he went and shot the girlfriend of one of the men responsible for his son's death and her 2 nephews. Now, exactly 7 years later, Stokes faces life in prison, and for that, he's going to get exactly what he deserves, life in prison. At the time, prosecutors said Stokes' crime was the latest in a years-long gang war involving multiple family members being targeted, injured, and slain on each side of the battle that began in at least 2015. After deliberating for several hours, a Cook County on October 26 jury found the boy's father guilty of attempted murder, aggravated battery with a firearm, and a gun charge in connection to the March 2016 triple shooting. 9-year-old Tyshawn Lee was sitting on a swing in a park down the street from his grandmother's house on November the 2nd of 2015. It don't seem like it's been that long, but it's been that long. 2015. Actually, that was... Yeah, wow. When a man approached him, dribbled his basketball, and offered to buy him a juice box. The man, who would later be identified as Dwight Boone Doty, then led Tyshawn to the alley where police said that he shot the child in the head several times at close range. It was one of the most evil things I've ever seen, the Reverend Michael Fleger, a Roman Catholic priest who presided over the boy's funeral mass, told the Associated Press after the killing. I was over there and to see the young boy laying in an alley next to a garbage can with his basketball feet away, This assassination of a 9-year-old child took violence in Chicago to a new low. In October 2019, Doty was found guilty of first-degree murder in the boy's death. Illinois Department of Corrections records show Doty remained housed Wednesday at the Pontiac Correctional Center, where he is serving a 90-year sentence for the crime. Investigators said Tyshawn was executed by gang members to send a message to his father, who prosecutors said was an alleged member of a rival gang. Tyshawn's killing drew national media attention and highlighted ongoing warring factions in the Chicago area. Stokes' crime took place months after Tyshawn's death, when he encountered Doty's girlfriend, looked straight at her, threatened her, and fired 6 shots, according to the Chicago Tribune. Vigilante justice is not justice, Assistant State's Attorney Melanie Matthias told the jury during closing arguments of Stokes' trial at the Layton Criminal Court building, the outlet reported. Street justice is not justice. Prosecutors said Doty and fellow gang member Corey Morgan, also convicted for his role in Tyshawn's death, believe Stokes was responsible for an October 2015 shooting that killed Morgan's 25-year-old brother and injured Morgan's mother. Initially, prosecutors said the plan was to kill Tyshawn's grandmother to send a message to Stokes before the boy was targeted. Just no regard for black life. Shell casings at the crime scene and the gun used in the boy's killing would eventually be linked back to Morgan and his brother, who purchased the gun from a man in New Mexico. Morgan was sentenced to 65 years in prison for his role in Tyshawn's death, and another co-defendant, Kevin Edwards, the getaway driver, pled guilty to first-degree murder in exchange for a 25-year prison sentence. Online records showed Stokes remained jailed without bond Thursday. A Cook County District Attorney's Office spokesman said Stokes faces 31 years to life when he's sentenced. Sentencing is set for November the 20th, which is coming right around the corner. So we expect for him to get every bit of those years. And to be honest, I don't really feel too bad for him. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. If you guys would do me a favor and hit that thumbs up, leave a comment. And if you never even heard this story, it was back in 2015. I know that there's a lot of things that have happened since then, but this was one of the biggest stories to come out at that point. So, yeah. So go ahead and show you guys. Just only got a couple news videos.
I feel sad because it's a cruel community out here. I just wish that it'll stop.
A Chicago boy who was fatally shot was targeted because of his father's gang activities, Police Superintendent Gary McCarthy said Thursday. 9-year-old Tyshawn Lee, who was walking to his grandmother's house Monday afternoon, was lured into an alley and executed. Tyshawn's grandmother found his body in a Southside alley in the Gresham neighborhood with the basketball he took everywhere with him. We believe Tyshawn's father has ties to a gang that is in conflict with another gang, McCarthy said, describing the killing as probably the most abhorrent, cowardly, unfathomable crime I've witnessed in 35 years of policing. The murder of the 9-year-old boy stems from a bloody clash between 2 gang sects. McCarthy said the boy's father, Pierre Stokes, isn't cooperating with the police, a claim Stokes has denied.
The father of 9-year-old Tyshawn Lee, whose murder shocked Chicago, has been convicted after prosecutors say he tried to get revenge. A jury found Pierre Stokes guilty of attempted murder and aggravated battery. Prosecutors say Stokes shot 3 people to avenge his own son's death. Tyshawn Lee was shot and killed in 2015. Police say the shootings were part of a gang dispute.
Watch breaking news on YouTube. Subscribe to ABC7 Chicago Eyewitness News.
A Chicago father has been convicted of trying to kill 3 people as revenge for his own son's murder. This is the video of the father, Pierre Stokes, following his son's killing. A jury found Stokes guilty of attempted murder for shooting and wounding 3 people at a gas station in 2016. One of the victims was the girlfriend of a man convicted of killing Stokes' son. 9-year-old Tyshawn Lee was killed back in 2015. The boy was lured into an alley by gang members and shot. 3 men are now in prison for that child's killing.
In a vicious cycle of gun violence in Chicago, Tyshawn Lee's father is convicted on gun charges. Pierre Stokes was found guilty yesterday of flashing a gun at a woman in 2014. The next year, Stokes was apparently part of a shooting that killed a rival gang member's brother. Just last week, 2 members of that gang were convicted of killing 9-year-old Tyshawn out of revenge. But after Tyshawn's death, prosecutors say Stokes went on a revenge spree of his own, shooting 3 people in 2016. He's now waiting to be tried on attempted murder charges.
Now on to other news. The 2 men convicted of executing 9-year-old Tyshawn Lee will be locked up behind bars for decades. Dwight Boone Doty is a convicted triggerman. He was sentenced to 90 years. His accomplice, Corey Morgan, sentenced to 65. Prosecutors say in 2015 they lured Tyshawn Lee into an alley and shot him in order to get at his dad. They said he belonged to a gang that had shot Morgan's mom and brother. After Tyshawn's killers were led away in handcuffs, the young victim's mom and grandmother spoke out.
I'm just happy that I got justice today. I'm glad I got what I deserve. So I'm glad my son got what he deserved, and that's justice.
I'm satisfied, very much so. Happy and sad at the same time. You know, glad they're going away. I think this is the first day I thought about the other families, and I feel sorry for the moms and their siblings that's going through the same things we're going through despite their actions.
A third man, Kevin Edwards, drove the getaway car. He pleaded guilty to murder and was sentenced to 25 years earlier this year.
Story really brings back a lot of memories and just how crazy Chicago was and is, and just you think that now 8 years later, roughly 7 to 8 years later, it doesn't seem like anybody has learned anything. Like I could literally do stories out of Chicago every single week and would never run out of things to talk about. Like it's just ridiculous. And I would just hope that something would cause people to wake up. And I don't know what that is. This story should have been the one, and it didn't. Nobody learned anything. Everybody went to jail. This boy lost his life. And everybody just continues to keep doing what they're doing as if nothing ever happened. It's really sad. But like I said, if they give him max penalty, then he gets what he deserves. I don't believe in vigilante justice, and I'm not going to encourage anybody else to break the law either. So this is also another good reason not to even get caught up in this bull crap, in this gang lifestyle, and all this other stupid crap. We gotta grow up. We make our choices. All right. Thank you guys so much for listening to the story. And this is pretty much the final update that you're probably going to hear about in this Tyshawn Lee saga. Okay. Thank you.